meeting in Maryland was heartfelt and genuine, and it was easy to talk to. And then Uncle Bob and Uncle Tim threw a party at their house, a small crowd of friends that were enjoying through the COVID lockdowns in Maryland, and invited some neighbors as well, and so that was wonderful to be able to share some of my stories, journey from Korea to Virginia and California, and then subsequently to Maryland. And then also by special request, because we were going out to eat a lot. And as much as I love to eat out, my first request as a nephew to Uncle is that, can we eat at home? So Uncle Bob made brunch for us at home, and that's actually my favorite meal, was at home. Our plan was predicated on, even though they're family, we're meeting for the first time, so we are guests. And there is a cliche in American culture that guests are like fish. If you stay for more than 3 nights, you may start to smell, whether you realize it or not. It's a metaphor. So we wanted to make the visit short and sweet, to let them know that have a positive interpersonal, just to have enough taste so that you want some more. And we also stayed in a Airbnb, so we're not like disrupting their lives too much. So I thought that all worked out well. And so and then our meeting, Uncle Bob and Uncle Tim culminated in having a wonderful harbor restaurant dinner with a great view, celebrating their anniversary. And so we had some really good times, having some ice cream before that, and at the restaurant, and then at the end of the restaurant, I had an impromptu scotch to celebrate, and then Uncle Tim gave us advice. I don't remember when he exactly gave us the advice, but I attributed to that night as helping me remember, is that what's in North Carolina would be pivotal for us for information. So Tim was giving us guidance on what to do next, what to go next. So, yeah.
Did you learn more about Uncle Bob and Tim when you were there?
Yeah, we learned more about Uncle Bob and Uncle Tim, but also what we learned was that they actually didn't have much interaction as adults to my late father, Papa John. Matter of fact, Uncle Bob, being the youngest, after leaving the household, and then when they're as adults, really kind of went off into their own directions. And then once the farm of Grandma and Grandpa's was divided up and sold, everyone really pretty much went their own ways. One of the things I remember well about Uncle Bob is just how nice it was to walk next to him. Matter of fact, Pei and Uncle Tim would crack up on how our walking gait was so similar. And also something that you just can't get over, a video meeting is that feeling of hug, right? And the smell of in-person human interaction. The things that we talked about was all wonderful, but just the sense of being in the same space and sharing attention. I didn't get to have that, and I was certainly making up for it and enjoying it.
Great, that's awesome. That's good to hear. They gave you some advice about marriage?
Yeah, they gave important advice about our marriage, which is to don't change each other. When you are married, that is a step into complete acceptance. So they said to have a fun, satisfying, long marriage, focus on acceptance and support, and not on changing the other. So we thought that was that resonated for us. Right. That's it. It was. That's that's it. You remember we knew. That's nicht. No. This is remember. I was having a no. Hey, I.
They gave you some advice about marriage?
Yeah, they gave important advice about our marriage, which is to don't change each other. When you are married, that is a step into complete acceptance. So they said to have a fun, satisfying, long marriage, focus on acceptance and support, and not on changing the other. So we thought that resonated for us. And go accepting the present, meaning accepting each other. You know, it's not the house that comes alive or the apartment, but the people that are in it that you choose to share your space and time with. So.
Did Uncle Bob share with you the family of Papa John and the different brothers and
Yes.
Grandma and Grandpa?
In person they had more colorful stories and kind of fleshed out some of the detail. But already by email, very organized email with bullet points and observations, Uncle Bob had already conveyed the synopsis about who and what, right? And one of the things that's really admirable is that even my grandfather and I had something in common, in that we both had our stint at a orphanage, one with the other. George Welton didn't need to change his family name, but for one reason or another, he spent time in an orphanage for a bit, and him and his wife were. You know, they needed to work. They worked hard, and they met each other, and we heard stories about how they met, and that was delightful. But they met and they worked hard, and they saved their money, and he got promoted because back in those days, even then, more so then, it was easier for a man to get promoted than women. So he got promoted, and they had children, and they bought the farm in Kirtland, Ohio, to raise her growing family. And Uncle Bob portrayed a really idyllic, dreamlike, desirable landscape of rolling hills, trees, creeks, ponds, rivers, where they grew up. But I was just really grateful of how hard work brought them luck. And so, yes, you can always talk about how things did not happen or histories where you wish things could have gotten better in a macro, in a big picture sense. But when it comes down to my grandma and grandpa, is that they were good to each other and they worked hard, and by their hard work and good planning, they invited luck to happen in their lives, and it manifested.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so Uncle Bob and Uncle Tim, they live in Maryland.
Yeah,
is
Baltimore.
that also where the rest of the family is?
Well, once Grandma and Grandpa became late and their ashes were scattered in the creeks, the creek that runs through their property, and their farm was divided up, where existing neighbors bought up more of bought up their land. They went on their separate ways. We know that the oldest brother, David, got a PhD and was a professor, I think, in education, and had a good marriage with Kathy, and had 3 boys, which are my cousins. And then Larry went out west to be an artist, and was kind of in and out of contact, and eventually became, out of contact, presumed deceased. And then John went to the Army because he didn't want to have a normal job where he stayed at a desk, and he kind of wanted to see the world. So he went into the Army as an officer. And then and Uncle Bob now realized didn't tell us too much what he was doing most of his time, but he told us how he met Tim in Baltimore, and then gave us an idea of who the cousins were, and then also relate how important Dean and Jean was to my father's life. We were such very close friends, and we're starting to get an idea why in John Kenneth Welton's obituary that Dean is described as a special friend. Yeah, so.
Awesome. Well, we can discuss more about Dean and Jean in the next session.
In the next session.